Good evening everyone. Welcome to Abhiram IAS Academy. This is Pavani Reddy Palla. So I'm here to discuss the Daily Chronicle series. So let us see all the important articles in the Hindu newspaper today. So in the front page we have one important article which is talking about the India and EU free trade agreement. Okay. So the headline says India EU set a year-end deadline for the trade deal, security and defense pact. Okay. So in this photo, we can see the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen with the Narendra Modi in Delhi yesterday, at the Hyderabad House, Delhi yesterday. Okay, so they were discussing about the free trade agreement between the India and the European Union. So the deal may conclude by the end of 2025. So the deal will include the areas of collaboration in trade, technology, investment, innovation, green growth, security, skilling and mobility. So in these all arenas, we can see the free trade pact impacting the bilateral trade between the European Union bloc as well as in India. Okay. So what is European Union? European Union is one of the political and economic bloc in the European Union, where 27 countries, European countries, are part of this union. So these countries collaborate on trade, security and governance issues. So it was primarily created to ensure peace, economic stability and cooperation among different European countries. So, what are the objectives of European Union? So, the objectives of the European Union are to promote economic integration and free trade in the European continent. Okay, so what is meant by economic integration? So, that is the allowing different countries to have market accessibility in other countries. Market accessibility. Okay, so thereby the borders of a country are not prohibiting the entry of other goods by excessive tariffs. So there will be a free flow of goods and services among different European countries in this European Union. Okay, so next, to maintain peace and security in the Europe. So maintain and cooperate in the peace and security issues in the Europe is one important objective of the European Union. Okay, so it also ensures the human rights and the assurance of democracy sustenance as well as the rule of law. So every person is subjected to the law. So no one is above the law, everyone is equal in front of law. So this, to ensure these principles, European Union plays one important critical role in the Europe continent. Okay. Next, to create a common market with the free movement of people, goods and services, capital, etc. Okay, so for investment or goods and services, trade, etc., they will form a unique platform. Okay, next, to develop a single currency that is called the euro and common financial policies. So the European Union countries adopted a single currency that is called as euro. So this is one important point which you have to remember about the European Union objectives. So this European Union is similar to the Gulf Cooperation Council which we have seen in the West Asia. So why these are important? European Union and the Gulf Cooperation Council, etc., are important trading partners of India. So these blocs play a very important role in the trading aspects related to India. Okay. Next, why the European Union is important to India? Of course, we know that the trade and investment. So India's third largest trading partner or bloc is the European Union. Number 2, we have the strategic importance, where we have the part of European Union playing an important role in the defense, space and cyber security arenas in India. Next, the free trade negotiations which are going on as of now are also going to play a very important role in increasing the bilateral trade. Okay. Next, climate and sustainability actions which are taken place among the European Union and India plays a very important role in potentially increasing the renewable energy sources. Okay, so let us hope that the India-European Union Free Trade Agreement finalizes soon. Okay, so this is one important article. So the next important article is related to a avalanche. That is a type of disaster which has happened in the Uttarakhand. So the headline says 22 missing after a avalanche hits the village in Uttarakhand. Okay. So this article says that 55 civilian workers at the site during the disaster of avalanche. Okay, so the 10 were rescued and 23 were believed to be safe. So where did this happen? So it has happened in the Mana village in Uttarakhand, Chamoli district around early morning on Friday. Okay, so there have been a work which is going under the Border Roads Organization. So for the people, 55 civil workers have been working at the site and an avalanche has occurred. So what is meant by an avalanche? So avalanche is nothing but the sudden rapid fall of snow or debris, or it can be ice, glacier, etc. So sudden fall of the snow or ice, glacier, debris, etc. from the top of a mountain to the bottom of the mountain. So the ice, the debris or the rock particles from the mountain area, from the top of the mountain area, if they are falling suddenly onto the ground of the bottom of the mountain, then that is called as avalanche. So this avalanche is similar to the landslide, where it generally happens in the mountains which are not covered with snow or ice. Okay, so in the landslide also the similar phenomena takes place where the particles of the soil or the rock particles will fall from the top to the bottom of the mountain area. That is called as landslides. Okay, so generally we see in the tropical and the subtropical areas. But whereas avalanches are seen in the snow-covered mountains or hills. So at that places we call them as avalanches, where in the normal areas we call it as landslides. Okay, so what is the effect of avalanche? So it causes loss of life, damage to infrastructure and also environmental destruction. Okay, so these are the important aspects which you have to remember as part of our disaster management. Okay. So next important article is related to a report released by the World Bank. So it is important for us in the economic point of view. Okay, so the report released by World Bank is called as the India Country Economic Memorandum, Becoming a High Income Economy in a Generation. So this is talking about the India's growth. India's growth towards the Vikshit Bharat. So what is meant by Vikshit Bharat? So it is nothing but the India's journey towards a developed nation by 2047. Okay, so that is from 100 years of independence, India should move from an underdeveloped country to a developed country. Okay, so that is the target of the Vikshit Bharat. So this article is talking about the India's present growth rate and the reforms it need to be inculcated in the India so that we can move towards the Vikshit Bharat 2047. Okay, so it says that India should grow at a growth rate of 7.8% in the upcoming 22 years. Okay, so in the upcoming 22 years till 2047, we need to maintain a growth rate of around 7.8%. So it is talking about the growth rate of India between 2000 to 2024. It was around 6.3% on average. Okay, so this was the growth rate of India from 2000 to 2024 on average So this has led to the foundation of the Viksit Bharat. Okay, so now we have a strong foundation base. Now we have to increase this 6.3% of growth rate to the 7.8% growth rate on average till 2047. Okay. So the article says that we have to learn lessons from the Chile, Korea and Poland for the transition of India from a middle income country to a high income country. So where it talks the importance of the deepening integration into global economy. So this means that we need to focus on our trade. So we need to focus on the increasing of the trade with the other countries. Okay, then only we can have a smooth transition from the middle income to the high income countries. Okay, so the article says that we need to include certain type of reforms like achieving faster and inclusive growth across the states. It means we have to take along the northeastern states and the eastern states which are certainly underdeveloping as of now. So we have to include them in our growth process. Okay, so we need to increase the total investments from the current 33.5% GDP to the 40%. So there should be an increase in the GDP investments. Okay, next. So increasing overall labor force participation from 56.4% to the 65%. So what is meant by the labor force participation? It is nothing but the people who are working in different sectors. So generally they will be between the age of 15 to 64 years of age. Their participation in the labor work should be increasing from 56.4% to the 65%. And also we have the accelerating overall productivity growth. So there should be a overall increase in the growth rates. Okay, so this also talks about the demographic dividend, which is very favorable for the India. So what is meant by demographic dividend? So it is nothing but the high number of working force population present in the country. So India on an average has a age group between 29 to 30 years on average. So we need to invest in the human capital. So we need to focus on the skills, the education standards, and health infrastructure of the population. So thereby we can reap the demographic dividend. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are extracting the best productivity of the working population. So that is meant by the demographic dividend. So we need to focus on creation of more and better jobs. Okay, and we need to raise the female labor force participation in different sectors of the Indian economy. So these are some important steps which need to be improvised for growing the India's growth rate. Okay, next. So some important, according to the report, some important steps which are advised are, so increasing investment and fostering of environment for creation of more and better jobs. Number one, we have the creation of more and better jobs. And the next important one the article is talking about is the promotion of structural transformation, trade participation and technology adoption. And also we have the inclusion of states to grow faster and together. So these are some important advices given by the World Bank report. Okay, so for us to achieve the dream of envisioning Viksit Bharat by 2047, we need to take the advice of the World Bank report suggestions. Thereby, it will be aiding us in our development, inclusive and holistic development. Okay, so coming to the next important article, we have Indian digital economy ranked 28th on user spending. So again, it is a report, so which was released by Center for Internet and Digital Economy, so which is under the International Economic Relations. So this has been a report which is related to the digital economy. So it says that India is the third largest economy in the world, but its user economy, that is a digital economy wise, it ranks 28th. So it is a third largest economy, but we have the digital economy where India stands at a 28th place. Okay, so this report says that despite the high level of digitization at the aggregate level, but the level of digitization of an average Indian is fairly modest. So it's fairly moderate at a level. Okay, so that is what this article is talking about. So we need to have a higher level of digitization at the basic level. So average Indian should engage the digital mode to improvise the digital economy in India overall. Okay, so there is one important article which is released by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology in January, which says that the digital economy is growing at twice the rate of its overall economy. Okay, so it is telling that the economy, if it is growing at a X% of rate, then the digital economy is growing at a 2x%. Okay, so it is growing at a double rate. So this is again one important article which we can use in the economy related answer writing. Okay, so the next important article talks about the ISRO's Aditya L1 mission. So it has unlocked solar flare secrets with the new image. Okay, so the suit payload of the mission observed X6.3 class solar flare in the lower solar atmosphere, which has captured its first ever image, says the ISRO. So it is going to be one important step to understand the sun's explosive activity and its impact on the earth. Okay, so we have one important mission, that is the Aditya L1 mission of ISRO. So it is India's mission. India's first solar mission to observe the sun's activity, sun's explosive activity, and understand its impact on the earth. Okay, so it has on February 22nd, it has the one payload called SOOT. SOOT is one payload present in the 7 payloads on the Aditya L1 mission. So this SOOT mission has taken a photo of the X6.3 class solar flare, which has categorized into one of the most intense solar eruptions. So it has detected the image at a near ultraviolet wavelength of around 200 to 400 nanometers and never observed before in such greater detail. Means what, it has provided a detailed picture of the solar flare, which is called as X6.3. Okay, so let us see some important details about the Aditya L1 mission. So Aditya L1 mission has been launched on September 2nd, 2023 from Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota. So which was the rocket which carried the Aditya L1 mission? It is nothing but the PSLV C-57 has carried the Aditya L1 mission. Okay, so it is the India's first solar observatory. So this is very important because it is the India's first solar mission. Okay, so what is the objective of Aditya L1 mission? It is nothing but to study the sun from a special vantage point, which is known as Lagrange point 1 or L1, which is 1.5 million kilometers from the earth. Okay, so let's say this is earth. So just think this is L1, Lagrange point 1. So the distance from this point to this point is 1.5 million kilometers. So the distance between Earth and the Lagrange 1 is around 1.5 million kilometers. So here we are going to launch the Aditya L1, where we are going to study the sun's explosive activity and the impact of it on the earth. Okay, so at this point we have a uninterrupted view of the sun. So why this point, why L1? Because we are going to have an uninterrupted view as well as no disturbances from any type of eclipses. Okay. So that is why we have chosen the Lagrange point 1. So this Lagrange point 1 is a gravitationally stable point between the Earth and Sun. So we all know that there is a gravitational force which will be pulling the objects towards themselves. So this L1 point will be a gravitationally stable point so that we can have a complete proper study of the sun's explosive activity. Okay, at that point we have other space agency missions of the NASA and European Space Agency. So example is SOHO. So similar to Aditya L1 mission, there is this mission called SOHO which is going to study the solar explosion activity. Okay. So what will be the objectives of Aditya L1? So this is very important topic as part of our SNT. Okay. So we need to have a clear view in the objectives of the Aditya L1. So to study about the solar corona. So it is the outermost layer of the sun, solar corona and its heating mechanism. Okay. To investigate the solar winds and its impact on the space weather. So solar winds are the winds which are emitted from the sun. Okay, so and to study the impact of the space weather. Okay, next observe the solar flares and coronal mass ejections. So the solar flares are nothing but high intensity radiations which are emitted from the sun. So to observe those high intensity radiations, the Aditya L1 is going to help us. Okay, and also the coronal mass ejections. So it is nothing but a plasma mass which is going to be ejected out from the sun. So we are going to study in detail about the solar flares and the coronal mass ejections through the Aditya L1 mission. And also understand the dynamics of sun's magnetic field and influence on the interplanetary space. Okay, so the magnetic field of sun, how is it affecting the different, the space which is present in between the planets, that is in the solar system. Okay, so all these are the important objectives of Aditya L1. So in the Aditya L1 mission, we have 7 important payloads present in it. So in which 2 are the remote sensing payloads. So number 1, we have the visible emission line coronagraph, which studies the solar corona. So that is the outer layer of sun. And number 2, we have the Solar Ultraviolet Imaging Telescope, that is the SOOT. So today in the article, we are talking about the SOOT payload which gave us the image of X6.3. So X6.3 class solar flare. Okay, so this is a SOOT image. SOOT means the full form is the Solar Ultraviolet Imaging Telescope. So in shortcut, we are calling it as SOOT. So the other important payloads present in the Aditya L1 mission are ASPECS, which means Aditya Solar Wind Particle Experiment to measure the solar wind properties. Okay, so we have the PAPA, which is the Plasma Analyzer Package for Aditya, which are meant to study the plasma and the particles property. And next we have the Helios, so High Energy L1 Orbiting X-ray Spectrometer, which will detect the different types of solar flares. Okay, the next important one is the magnetometer, which studies the magnetic field in the space. Okay, so these are the important different types of payloads present in the Aditya L1 mission. Okay, so what will be the significance of Aditya L1 mission? So it is nothing but it is, as we know, it is India's the first solar observatory in space. Okay, so the next important significance is it helps to predict the space weather, which affects satellites and communication system. Okay, so the sun being the center of the solar system plays a very crucial role in the space weather. So which is going to impact the different types of satellites. It can be weather or the communication satellites. Okay, so the third significant one is to understand the solar activity and climate change on Earth. So, the two important reasons for climate change are natural and the man-made or human-induced. Human-induced reasons, right? So, in the natural, we have one important reason is the sunspot cycle, solar winds, etc. So, because of the Aditya L1 mission, we are going to understand the solar winds behavior, solar spot cycle, etc. So, that will again help us in understanding the climate change in the globe. Okay. So, next, it will enhance the India's capabilities in space science and research. So, we all know that ISRO is playing a very great role in the space arena in the satellite systems. So, this is again going to strengthen the India's capabilities. It will give us the forex reserves in favor of India. So, these are the important significance of the Aditya L1 mission. These are the important articles for today. So, let us continue our class tomorrow. So, thank you everyone. Please like and subscribe to Abhiram IAS Academy. Thank you.